Good evening, I'm Art Winslow. We had a stellar set of books in general nonfiction this year. There's no Malthusian progression here in which we're going to give the final award to every single one, but I wish we could. The 5 finalists we're honoring tonight are Drew Gilpin Faust, with This Republic of Suffering, Death in the American Civil War, Knopf. Dexter Filkins, The Forever War, Knopf. Okay, there's 2. George C. Herring, From Colony to Superpower, U.S. Foreign Relations since 1776, Oxford University Press. Alan Lightman, White Protestant Nation, The Rise of the American Conservative Movement, Atlantic. And Jane Mayer, The Dark Side. Winslow story of how the war on terror turned into a war on American ideals. The award is going to Dexter Filkins for The Forever War. In 1998, before the clarifying attacks of 2001 shocked the West into higher gear in its anti-terror efforts, Dexter Filkins was a reporter making trips into Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. Among the things he witnessed was a public execution in a Kabul soccer stadium, a sanctioned revenge killing by the brother of a murder victim in accordance with Sharia law. Filkins had been given a choice seat, midfield, as the loudspeakers proclaimed, "Nothing that's being done here is against God's law." And a departing spectator told him, "In America, you have television and movies, the cinema. Here, there is only this." The Forever War is Filkins' first-person account of what he saw then and later in Iraq, from the U.S. invasion in 2003 until 2006, working as a war correspondent. It is credibly the best single source from which to glean an understanding of the so-called war on terror from its front lines. What Filkins has to offer, the mixed motives of the participants, the volatility of many fidelities, the sheer hatred and violence as they play out, the sorrow atop sorrow, is first-rate perspective that derives from lived circumstance, not policy debates. The cross-section of figures you'll find in his book include the Northern Alliance leader Ahmad Shah Massoud, who was an enemy of Osama bin Laden's, assassinated by agents of Al-Qaeda just 2 days before 9/11. Ahmad Chalabi, the Iraqi exile whose claims of Iraqi weapons of mass destruction helped clear the path to war. And Jerry Bremer, head of the Coalition Provisional Authority, the first year following Saddam Hussein's ouster. We find Filkins variously in Anbar province, which was the bedrock of the insurgency, and in the rubble of embattled Iraqi cities, most notably Fallujah, Ramadi, and Najaf, where he was witness to signal battles. He also chronicles frequent trips into the patchwork of neighborhoods and suburbs that constitute Greater Baghdad amid warring factions bent on ethnic cleansing, where car bombs, suicide bombers, and kidnappings were the order of the day. Much has changed in Iraq since the time covered in the Forever War, but car bombs still reverberate in the daily news. Overall, Filkins lets what he reports speak for itself, allowing the ambiguities to stand, and his precision with a telling quotation or detail lends his book great authority. As only a first-hand observer would record, the concrete walled lanes of the protected green zone in Baghdad look like the chutes in a slaughterhouse. The 105mm cannon on an AC-130 gunship makes a popping sound as you would hear from a machine that served tennis balls. We congratulate Dexter Filkins on his achievement.
So, I was wrong. So, Well, I just thank you to the NBCC. This is very humbling. I need to thank my publisher, Knopf, first and foremost, for just doing everything right, no matter what. It was really, it was 10 years out there, and then I wrote the book. But and they supported me in every way. And I'll tell you one quick story about writing the book. When I was finished, there's a scene in the beginning of the book where we're all going into battle. I was tagging along with some Marines in Fallujah in 2004, and the Marines came up and they set up a loudspeaker about as big as the screen, and they started playing AC/DC on the loudspeaker. It was brilliant, and really buildings were exploding, and they're playing Hell's Bells, and so we had to get the one of the most difficult things I had to do was get AC/DC to agree to give us the rights to run the lyrics, and so first we had to find his name is Agnes something, the lead singer. First we had to find AC/DC, and then we found them, and then we had to wake them up. And I mean, it took months and months, and it went down to the wire, and Knopf had to call the trucks and tell them what they were called. But finally, they got to Agnes, and he said, "Fine, go ahead." And I want to thank the New York Times too, my employer, who kind of subsidized all these crazy ventures for so long, and really always held the bar so high, no matter what. And they couldn't have been a greater friend or more supportive and all that time, and and I should thank them too for reimbursing me for all those extraordinary expenses that I had, like for paying bribes to warlords and for the armed guards and for the extraordinary quantities of alcohol that we used to smuggle across the Jordanian desert and back, months and months at a time. But people ask me about, whenever I come out, people ask me about what's it like? What's it like in Iraq and Afghanistan? And it's I mean, the book, of course, is an attempt to answer that, but it's like going to another world, of course. It's like going to another galaxy with its own rules, and there's really, if you're a writer, there's nothing like war to sort of illuminate the human condition. But I have to say that the strangest thing is coming back and coming out and coming back to a place like Manhattan, which is so normal and so beautiful and filled with grace. Thanks.